Hello, all. What does it mean to be a part of the Jiu Jitsu community, even when you're not necessarily on the mats every day? Today, we got to sit down with our new friend, Dante. You might know him as the voice behind BJJ Wiki, or it might be a surprise. You might train with him and not know he's the host of or has BJJ Wiki, as we've learned. He's also the host of a very heartfelt and hilarious Off the Mats podcast.
Dante is a blue belt. He's been training off and on for over a decade. His journey is not defined by medals or how long he's on the mats, but by the power of perspective and his ability to build community through conversation. So we get to talk in length about jiu-jitsu, finding the humor in the grind, and showing up authentically even when life doesn't follow the playbook.
He opens up with us about living with a colostomy bag that he's had since birth and how that's shaped him and his approach to training and life. With a deep understanding of physical and mental resilience, he's shared with us how he used storytelling and connection to keep him and others close to the sport.
From meme curation to honest conversations with grapplers of all stripes, Dante's presence in the jiu-jitsu world is a reminder that you don't have to be the loudest person in the room or the highest ranked person on the mats to really make an impact in life and in the sport.
So whether you're training, whether you're not training, whether you love some good memes, just great jiu-jitsu content and a good story, please take a listen. We love talking to Dante. This episode is for you.
All right. Welcome back to Chokeholds and Chill, the podcast where we talk life, jiu-jitsu, and everything that happens in between the rounds. I'm Jenn.
I'm Mallory, and today we are joined by someone who brings a lot of heart, humor, and perspective to the jiu-jitsu community. You might know him from BJJ Wiki, where memes, insight, and jiu-jitsu culture meet, or from his really cool podcast, Off the Mats.
He is a blue belt, a community builder, and a storyteller, and just an all-around good human. Dante, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really, really excited. Really been looking forward to talking with you. So thanks for giving us your time.
How's this?
Cool. So we want to start off with, just tell us about yourself. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Just take it away.
All right, sure. So I currently live in Millersville, Maryland, close to the capital in Annapolis. I've been here in Maryland for 30 some odd years, something like that. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. So, landing here in Maryland and just, we always make jokes. I always say, I'm from Detroit. I represent Michigan, but I've spent most of my life here in Maryland. So I got cousins that always kind of poke fun at me like, no, you're not from Michigan, dude. You're from Maryland. So,
you can't claim Detroit. No. What made you move from Detroit to Maryland?
Family. I was in foster care.
Oh, wow.
In the late 80s. So in the family I was with, they're a great family. I'm still in contact with them, still to this day.
Nice.
But I was given the opportunity, it was my brothers and I, but I was given the opportunity to choose between staying there in Flint, Michigan, or moving to Newark, Delaware with my grandparents. And to give a 12-year-old child that kind of, decision to make, back then it didn't seem like a big deal. I was like, oh yeah, that's an easy choice. I'm gonna go with my grandparents. But as I thought about it through the years, it was like that was a really tough decision. It wasn't tough in the moment, but looking back on it, because I left my younger brothers behind, and the family was great. I never worried or feared for them, but just unity and staying strong together became kind of a theme for me in life later on. And when I look back on it, I always think is like, well, I wish I would have had those principles set in my mind when I was 12. I mean, again, I was a 12-year-old kid, so, you know, I make goofy decisions up into my 30s. So, I mean, to think I'd make the best decision at 12 is kind of silly as well. But my grandparents took me in, and that was a big, just culture shock for me in Delaware, because I'm coming from Flint, predominantly black, and I go to Newark, Delaware, where I was the only black kid in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really strange situation, but I adjusted. And then my grandfather had taken a job in Bethesda, Maryland, which ended up putting us out here, a couple years later. And I've been here since '92. So that's kind of the journey that brought me to Maryland. And I'm happy here. My wife and I talked about it the other day. It was like, couldn't imagine living anywhere else. So this is our forever home.
That's awesome. Like, what a fascinating backstory. I was not expecting that at all. So thanks for sharing all of that with us. So no, you're obviously in Maryland now. What are you doing out there? Like, what are you doing for work and everything?
So as far as here in Maryland, I don't know if it's my microphone. Okay, maybe this is my microphone. And I currently work with individuals with disabilities, a lot of physical handicaps and mental handicaps as well. I have a specific group that I work with daily, and my job is to just take them out into the community and just do that. We're part of the community, and throughout the years, I've had many jobs where I work with people. That's a big thing to me, is like working with people and helping people. Growing up, I was in a lot of customer service roles, which just I was not happy. In customer service, you get yelled at it a lot. And, I wanted to still do something where I get to help people and work with people. And I stumbled into this field, and here we are. I've been doing that now with this specific company for the last 3 years. But just being here in Maryland, working, being a family man, training jiu-jitsu, collecting comics, just, I'm a regular old dude.
A regular old dude. So much.
Very cool.
Oh,
what a fun job.
Yeah, and it takes a special person to do a job like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's really difficult. I work in healthcare, so, like, I get it. So yeah.
When did jiu-jitsu come into play for you? When did you start training, and how did that take effect?
So I started training in 2015, and prior to training, I'd always been a UFC fan, well, really MMA in general, but I primarily watch UFC. That's what was readily available. And I ended up doing a trial at a friend's gym, and it wasn't a bad experience. It just didn't feel like the place for me. So I kind of took a step back. And part of what led me there was my interest in MMA. But at the time, I was like, well, I want to start a podcast, and I want to do an MMA podcast. But I don't want to talk about something that I don't have it. I don't want to talk about grappling and not know what's going on the ground. So it's like, let's, go with step one. Let's go start jiu-jitsu. And when that kind of stalled for me, I was like, all right, no big deal. We'll get it back. About a year later, I decided to try again, and I walked into the doors of a gym called Ivy League MMA at the time. And, it very, very welcoming environment. Everyone was very, very cool, very nice. And as a comic book fan, I heard a couple guys talking about Spider-Man. I was like, okay, let's, ease on over here, see what's going on in this conversation. And I just happened to have on a Spider-Man T-shirt at the time as well.
Perfect.
And, got to talking with one of the guys. This guy, his name is Huggy. We called him Huggy Bear. And it just turned out like, yo, this is the place for me. So from that point, I was only able to train 1 day per week, and that was very stressful because I didn't feel like I was really obtaining any information or like really retaining. I was definitely getting the info. I just wasn't retaining it because I was going every Saturday, and in between each Saturday, there are other classes going on. They're learning so much more, and I'm only coming in Saturday mornings, and it's just an hour. So,
yeah, right. Tough.
I stuck around with it, and then eventually, once my schedules changed with work, I was able to get a couple more days in there, and then when my schedule really opened up, I was there any day that the gym was open. I was there. It got to a point where my wife and I, we just had a daughter in 2016 at that point, and my wife had to tell me one day. She was like, "Hey, you've barely seen the kid. You might want to dial back some of your hours on the mat." I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
Oh wow.
Like you're right, but like signing up with Ivy League and then getting that introduction was great. Ivy League eventually became Crazy 88 or merged with Crazy 88, and I'm still there to this day. Now I'm back to 1, maybe 2 days per week training, just as age catches up and life becomes life. It's a little tougher, but I still make time to get to the mats and try to study in some capacity and stay connected with the community and my gym.
Yeah. So yeah, I think
That's
that
the way to do
both
it.
of us can relate because I started training in my 30s. Jen started in her 40s.
Yeah.
So it's definitely it's weird to find a balance sometimes because I don't have any kids, but I was neglecting my husband for a while when I started training. So I can't imagine the balance with children.
Oh.
How many kids do you have?
We just have one.
Awesome. And how old are they now?
She just turned 9
Ooh.
in May.
Does she do any jujitsu?
No, currently she's in theater class.
Oh, cool. An artist.
That wins. I'll take theater every day.
Yeah, she really likes it. She's fully aware of jiu-jitsu, obviously because of Dad.
Mm-hmm.
But like we talked about maybe getting her in, and I think my wife was like, well, I think part of it is my wife was like, well, look, I don't want to be, when she was a nanny, she did a lot of running around with the kids. She's like, like that was chaotic and I won't have to do that. And I was like, well, I'll take her to class, because I'd be going. So like, it's not a big deal. But then once I got into theater and got started with that, we're like, okay, well, we'll do that theater activity for the spring. And then I've actually spoken with her about, maybe this summer getting her into jiu-jitsu and getting her on the mats. Because our old neighbor just signed their daughter up and the girls are good friends. I was like, this would be a perfect opportunity for, for my daughter to, get up there on the mats because now she has a friend out there. So it's not like she's going into this territory as a stranger. She'll at least have a peer and, maybe pull something from that. And just, I always think it's important for kids to have activities, whether it be chess club or theater or dance, jiu-jitsu, sports, some sort. So for her doing theater in the spring and then having her do jiu-jitsu the rest of the time, I think, that could be a fun thing for her.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fair trade too. You're not taking her to, force her to give up something that she wants, but you're offering her a tool that's going to benefit for the rest of her life, really.
Yeah, she just did a performance this past right after her birthday, and she was on cloud 9, a great performance. And then right off of coming off the performance later that day, we come home and she wanted to ride her bike, no training wheels on. And I was like, all right, well, we'll have to figure it out. And she took off, and it's like, dang, birthday, theater, now you're riding a bike. I mean, like, slow down.
That's so
There's other things.
cute.
Like such a proud dad moment, I'm sure.
Yes.
Very
Oh.
much.
Oh, that's so cool. I want to kind of transition into BJJ Wiki a little bit. How did that start, and what were you wanting to create, and how did you want it to evolve when you first started?
So BJJ Wiki actually came from a former teammate. Um, I was posting jiu-jitsu content on my personal Instagram, and just posting memes, posting technique videos, kind of what BJJ Wiki is right now. I had a teammate who was running a page of his own, a website and an Instagram and a Facebook page. He asked me if I would be willing to help him out and run his new page, which was BJJ Wiki. And I was like, yeah, sure. I don't have any idea what I'm doing, but I'll give it a shot. Well, he only had the Facebook and the website. So I said to him, I was like, well, look, I'm better versed on Instagram. Is it okay if I make an account on Instagram? And he was like, yeah, do whatever makes you comfortable, do it. I was like, okay. So I make the Instagram account, and it's as any account is in the beginning, it's just there. But as time went on, I had to find my own groove. I was like, well, what do I want this page to be? What do I want to do with it? So when you look at the website, it's showing a lot of different articles, very similar to BJJ Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe. Their website was articles, interviews, and then the occasional technique video.
Okay.
So BJJ Wiki's website was just like that. So I was like, well, I'll kind of take that formula to the Instagram page. What I'll do is I have kind of a setup. There's a grid that I'm very, very, I don't like to break the grid. I like to post a meme. I will post a technique video. And at the time, I will post a link or something for the website to show you, hey, go to the website and check out this. Now it's transitioned to just trying to promote other people's stuff, when available. But it just kind of started off as just kind of this thing that was really, supposed to be, his project. And then he actually was like, look, you taking off with this, run with it. It's yours now. Take it all. Which I didn't understand at the time, so I messed up and the website lapsed and shut down. So I was like, oh, well, whoops. But I kept the Instagram running. And the Facebook is still running also as well. But as far as how it came about, it was just really, he needed some help. And then once he saw, he was like, okay, well, you're doing really well with it. Go ahead and run with what you have. He had other projects, and then eventually he left the gym and he ran into some issues and disappeared. So who knows? I haven't been able to find him because I had questions about the website, and now I'm like, oh, well, I got the domain name back though. So there's that. I really haven't done much with the site in itself and bringing it back.
Interesting.
Wow. Well, the Instagram has surpassed 140,000 followers. And would you say that your role in the jiu-jitsu community has shifted as the page becomes more known? Do you feel more responsibility on what you post?
There's kind of a battle sometimes in my mind with that, because I do think there's a responsibility of what I post. And sometimes I do get a little irresponsible at times because, like if I see a meme, I'm like, that made me chuckle a little bit. I want to share it.
Yes.
And then it might come off not the best to a specific demographic within the community. And I'm like, oh, shit, like, what do I do here? And more often than not, I'll, if people are upset by it, I'll take it down, because I don't want to. The whole thing with community is, I want to be fair. It's not so much about I want everybody to like me, not that, but I want things to be fair, and I want people to be able to engage and conversation. I want people to be able to share in the humor. So when it comes to memes, definitely, I want to be a little bit more responsible, or I do take some responsibility, even though I'm reposting from everyone. All my content is repost. I would say I might do an original post once or twice a month, but whenever I repost, I always make sure to give credit to the original poster, because I think that's, if anything, why this page has grown. I think that's the important thing, is like, I want to make sure folks know where it came from. I want the person to, receive credit, because if it shows up on my page and it's doing really well, I want them to get their flowers. I don't want people to think, oh, well, look what Dante posted. This is his content. Like, not at all. This belongs to David. This belongs to Trevor. This belongs to Marissa. These are not my things. So I want, people to see that. As far as technique videos, I try to do, a good job at, as I'm looking at something, it's like, is this useful? Is this helpful? And I know there are people who will look at a technique and they'll say, oh, well, that's dumb. It would never work. And it's like, nah, I try to also show, if it's available, it being used in competition, just to kind of make the points. But everybody's going to have their opinions. And when an account has that many eyes on it, not everyone's going to be happy. Not everybody's going to be pleased. But I try to be as fair as I can. I try to make sure I'm not posting anything too controversial, because I learned that early on. It's like, I can't let my personal views, fully personal views, like if it's something political and stuff, I try to keep that completely separated. But if I feel strongly about mental health, I'm going to make that very well known. I've posted stuff in the past, and people have really, really kind of come down on me about posting a lot about mental health. And it's like, well, look, this is an important thing. And, I even speak from my experience, where I was in a really dark place, and jiu-jitsu was something that really helped me. And I know others who have been helped by jiu-jitsu. I put comments on the post at times where I said, look, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. I'm an ear. So it's not just like, here, let me post this mental health stuff for clout. But I genuinely care. I want, people to be okay. If I can help, I would definitely help. So, there's a responsibility there as well. If someone wants me to promote, a new website, or if they want me to promote, some rash guards or yis, I'm going to do that too. I just try to make sure that anything that I do post, there is, a positivity to it, where it's not hurting someone.
Right.
First of all, I love all of that.
Yeah, I'm just applauding you over here.
Yeah, I've been following that account for, I don't even know how long at this point. But I think it's awesome how you always credit the original creators, because that's something you don't see often on the internet these days. And there's, a lot of copycats and people, trying to pass things off as their own. So I think it's really awesome. And it says a lot about the space that you're building. And also like talking about topics that you're passionate about that, maybe are not so controversial. I think that we can relate to that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I just really appreciate that about you. And I think it's really cool. So we know that you have your podcast as well.
Yes.
So when did that start? And yeah, what inspired you to do that?
Well, let's first point out that it's called Off the Mat.
Oh, yes, Off the Mats. Did I not say that?
Not yet.
Okay.
Off the mats, guys.
Yeah, so tell us about that.
Talk to us about that, Dante. Where'd you come up with that?
So, I started Off the Mats during COVID, during like kind of the COVID shutdown. Part of it was I was associated with another podcast called Nerd Rage Radio, and when I would be able to get out there to talk with those guys, we talked a lot of comic books and things like that, movies, but there wasn't a lot of room to talk jiu-jitsu. They would always ask me about jiu-jitsu, and then kind of, all right, you got 2 minutes. I was like, whoa, I'm excited. Give me at least 4.
Right.
But during that time, also, everyone's kind of closed off, so I'm not really seeing my friends. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I want to do something. I was like, well, wait a minute. I did want to do a podcast, so let me get back into this space and figure it out. As far as the name, I actually, at that point, I was starting to get really comfortable in the social media world and doing polls. So I did kind of like a tournament style. Like first I went to the stories and was like, hey, throw some names out there. I think I got I want to say 20 some odd names thrown out there. So I did like the March Madness type brackets in the stories once I got the names together and just kind of whittled it down that way. I think every 2 days, maybe I would put up two new brackets or four names and like have folks kind of vote in that way. And then the young lady who actually came up with Off the Mats, she came up with 2 of them, and both her names made it to the finals. So I was like, oh, this lady's going to win regardless.
Yeah,
I was like, hey,
that's awesome. That is
I can't
so
remember
cool.
what the other name was, but Off the Mats won, which is the one that I was hoping would win. And I was like, look, I owe you guys a T-shirt once we get some merch up and everything. And she was like, no, I'm okay. And then it was like, hey, would you like to be a guest on the show? She's from Germany. And she was like, well, my accent's really thick, so I don't think you'd be able to understand me. I was like, I'm not scared of that. Bring it on. But she still declined. I was like, that's fine. It's not for everyone. But the ideal was with the name Off the Mats. I was like, well, I have to kind of dance around that now. Well, what's Off the Mats? Let's talk about jiu-jitsu, a little bit, in what you're doing on the mats, but I really want to know about folks away from the mats. And, we started getting into topics very early on, again, with mental health. At later points, we're talking about, and I've had guests come on and talk about their experience with domestic violence. But I myself have a colostomy, and I actually just recorded earlier today with the young man from Sweden who just had a surgery 3 weeks ago to have an ileostomy placed on him. So, they're mostly going to be grapplers or martial artists that come onto the podcast, but there's usually always a story away from that as well. I still want to talk about, their grappling. But let's also talk about, if they're a nerd about comic books, if they're a nerd about movies, music, let's get into it. I just talked with Adisa Benjoko. This week's episode just came out, and he used to write for the Source magazine, hip hop journalist, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And as we got to the end of the episode, I was like, dude, I really want to talk hip hop with you. Can we do another episode? He's like, yeah. So as soon as we disconnected, I went and started doing my homework and then, make an outline. I don't know when we're going to do the episode. I was like, I got an outline ready, dude. We could do this tomorrow if you want.
That is so awesome. Yeah, I freaking love that. And we talk about all the time how jiu-jitsu just brings people together that probably would never cross paths otherwise.
Right.
The diversity of people in the gym and their backgrounds and everything is so fascinating. And I know that some of the people that we've done podcasts with, we're so close with all the time, and then
we don't know them,
and then we talk to them and we're like, holy shit, we are literally mounting each other, and you have this whole fascinating history. So that's that's kind of why we wanted to start this podcast too. So we love the concept,
yes,
and the name, and
so here.
Yeah, it's great. So I'm so glad that you're doing that.
It's always weird for me at times because, I mentioned when I was speaking with Adisa, I've been wanting to talk to him for years, but there's this imposter syndrome that would always hit me. I felt like who am I to reach out to? And he's made it clear, though, in the past that he wanted to talk with me, but I always would freak out because I'm like, why would you want to talk with me? Like I'm just a dude that copies other people's stuff. Granted, again, I'm giving him credit, but I don't do original stuff. But he was like, look, man, I really like the message and everything. And I was like, dude, I appreciate that. So when we finally connected, it just felt like, we're old friends. And I was like, oh, and one of the things I try to do with the podcast, because I'll get guests that, first time doing a pod and they're nervous. The young man I had on earlier, he has said to me, he was nervous. He was like, I don't know what to do. So we talked for 30 minutes before I hit record. We talked about like rock music from the 80s. We talked about Guns N' Roses and Def Leppard. And,
nice.
And once I saw that he was comfortable, I was like, all right, let's go. We can do this. I always want folks to come on the pod and feel at home. I want you to feel like after we got done, you want to come back and do it again. Because if you don't feel that comfort, I feel like as a host, I didn't do my job. My job is to make you feel safe. My job is to make you feel like you can open up without judgment. And I never, ever bring up controversial stuff unless the guest wants to bring it up. I had a young lady, Taylor Moore. She had a controversial grappling match a couple years back.
Yes.
And I just wanted to talk to her, just about her story. And I left it open for her. She wanted to bring it up. She didn't bring it up on air. We talked after, and she was like, I'd really like to come back on and talk about it a little bit more. We never rescheduled. She's tough to get a hold of, I feel like, sometimes. So I was like, that's fine. But, I didn't want to push the issue because
right.
I don't want people to feel ambushed. I don't want people to feel like I only want to talk to you because of this or that. I do genuinely want to know the guests that are coming on. I mean, one guest that I had on very early on has become one of my best friends.
That's so cool.
Like, and it's just, support. We support each other back and forth. They live in Spain, and we talk every day. So, and that's just that thing again, where it's like, and they reached out to me to be on, and I was extremely nervous because this was very early. And when they presented themselves, I was like, yo, this is a professional human. I'm not a professional human.
Yeah.
They are.
That's imposter syndrome. Relatable.
What the fuck am I doing here in a moment when you're like, wait a minute.
Yes. I didn't know how to ask questions to them. I was just like, oh no, what do I do? And it turned out to be like the most listened to episode, still to this day. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's that's really cool. And all that nervousness, and now like we've done other episodes since, and it like I think because we're so close now, it feels weird when we're recording. It's like, are we really recording? Or are we just having a phone call? Like,
right.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Wild.
So, I mean, you've talked with white belts, black belts, competitors, all and everything in between. So what have all of these conversations taught you about, yourself or the sport and the people in it?
One thing that I feel like I take away from these conversations with folks is that when I feel kind of that stress and everything, and there are times I don't feel like I belong on the mats. Like when I talk to different folks, there's a big reminder that um, I think jiu-jitsu, I always say jiu-jitsu is not necessarily for everyone, but everyone should, give it a try at least. And, when I talk with folks, there are times before these conversations, I feel like I don't think jiu-jitsu is for me, even though I've been doing it for so long. I'm like, this isn't for me. But then, I'll sit down with a black belt and have a good conversation. And, I'll take away, some mindset, like coaching from them. Or, I'll talk to a white belt and find out, why they started and realize that, what, our journeys are similar. That's why we're started, or why we're doing this. So, one thing I take away from, or what I learned from talking to so many different folks is that you know, it's not so much about being like a black belt or being a purple belt or being the best grappler, or being better than someone else. Is, just about, yourself, like for me to keep pushing and just trying to improve upon what I've done before. You know, if I'm not doing that, then maybe I am wasting my time. If I'm just going out there dicking around, and it's like, I go out there and not put in any effort. So, when I have these conversations and I hear everyone else's story, it's like, yeah, I definitely, see it. I see it. I see it in them, and I see it in myself. So, just being able to keep pushing and focus is something I really kind of gather each time I record. I treat this like therapy.
It sounds very therapeutic. And you've mentioned a couple things that I wanted to touch on. You've mentioned having a colostomy bag, but also that you've been training off and on for roughly 10 years now. And I feel like, half of that people can relate to, and half of that not a lot of people can relate to. And in telling these stories and bringing people having similar emotions behind why they may not train all the time, or they're training too much, or it's, they need a break or whatever it may be. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it's been like to push on through this journey over the years with not only kids, but also something that you have to deal with health-wise on the regular?
Sure. So as far as health goes with the colostomy, because I've had it all my life, it's never been a thing. Like, I never thought about it. I just got out there and trained.
Right.
I played football and basketball, a rough and tumble kid. When I was speaking with the young man this morning, I pointed out that I didn't even, when I would get out there on the mats, I didn't have like any kind of a guard on my stomach or a brace or anything. He was like, dude, that's badass. And I was like, I think it's kind of psychotic, but I'll take that from you as well. And I never let my stomach having a colostomy stop me. I did have a health scare 2016, and I ended up I had blood clots.
Ooh.
And I had to take a little bit of time off to let that all clear up. And during that time, there was no doubt in my mind I was getting back on the mats. I was going to return better than ever. But as life kind of becomes life, it does get tough. It does get tough to kind of push through, whether it be with schedule, whether it be family obligations.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know lots of folks in the community that, you'll see the story of like, this person has 5 kids and they work a job and, they made it to this rank. And it's like, that's cool. Everyone's story is different.
Sure.
For myself, jiu-jitsu is not my occupation. Mm-hmm. It's not my life. I do love jiu-jitsu, but when I stopped training during the week because my wife works at night, so I have to tend to my young daughter, who at the time was 2, 3, 4 years old, and folks were like, "Nah, just bring her to the gym." It's like, no, we have a very strict schedule for her with sleep, so I'm not going to train until 9:30 at night and then get out of there by 10 o'clock and then get home and then shower and then go, by the time we get her to bed, it's 11:30.
Right.
So,
that doesn't work. Right.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. But, for me over these 10 years, I've still found the time to train, when I can. Because I think that's the important thing is like, you might not be able to do it every day, but at least, if you can get to the mat and make the most of the time that you have on the mat, it counts for something.
Yeah. I think we give people a really hard time who don't come to the gym as much as we think they should, or, where are you at, or, the whole guilt tripping for people not showing up, but I hope that everybody hears what you're saying and takes it into account for their own lives and realize that, like, unless this is your career, your family and your home has to come first.
Yes. And I don't even look at it like, I have, teammates who they're badasses. They're out there competing every weekend, and that's awesome. That truly is. I'm not the one though. That's not my bag.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in full support whenever I see something come up, and we got teammates out there winning gold at whichever tournament. They're getting promoted. I'm always shouting it out because I love my team. And I always want to let them know I'm proud of them. And it's just a thought of support, but also too again, I'm not doing the same things, and we're all doing different things. So, and I see a lot of support when it comes to the podcast and BJJ Wiki. For those who know that it's me, I have a lot of teammates who don't know that I'm the one that's behind BJJ Wiki.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Very secretive.
Wow, that's really interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I don't have any there's very few pictures of me on BJJ Wiki or any videos. So we were at a cookout last October, and I was talking to one teammate, and we're talking about BJJ Wiki. And there's another teammate sitting there looking at us back and forth. You can see the wheels turning in his head. And he looks at me and he goes, "Oh shit, that's you?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude."
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh.
So there's tons of support from them, towards me for that, and vice versa. It goes back and forth. So I may not train the way that they train, but I'm always going to support and shout them out, and it goes back the other way too. I get teammates that are like, and I didn't know teammates were listening to the pod, and so I asked, one guy on the team, I was like, "Hey, you mind at some point being a guest on the pod?" He was like, "Yeah, dude. Actually, I listen to it all the time. It's one of few jiu-jitsu podcasts I listened to." I was like, "Holy shit, really?" Like,
that's a compliment.
I got to think back to, I might have said something like that about him. Not like that, but because I will get on there and tell stories like, "Hey man, I got wrist locked the other day, and I ain't gonna ever forget him." And I didn't talk to him for 3 weeks.
That's the content we're all here for, right?
Oh my gosh.
Tea.
I love your story and your background. I think it's super fascinating. Now, obviously, having the colostomy bag your whole life, and you don't really know life without that. I feel like a lot of people would kind of use that as an excuse to not try certain things. Now, or fear. And do you, have you ever had any hesitation? Like when you were first starting jiu-jitsu, was that even a thought in your mind?
No, not it could have just been, ignorance. I just didn't think about it. Later on, as I got older, it does get in my head at times, and it does affect my training from time to time. But when I first started, that first year, and I think probably because I was only going once per week, so I didn't have enough time to worry. I was like, I got to get this time in. But as I trained more, I was like, this might be a problem. That might be a problem. And when IBJJF came to DC for the DC Open for the first time, I just competed in a local tournament. And I was excited. I was like, "Oh, I got the energy now. I'm in this. I got silver on accident. I can do this."
Accident.
Yes.
I Forrest Gumped my way into that one. I did not think I won. I was like, "Oh, I definitely lost." And they raised my hand. I was like, "What the? I won?" I was like,
"Take it."
And the guy that
earned it.
Yeah, I was like, my coach was like, "Yeah, you earned it. You didn't give up." I was like, "Yeah, I didn't even know that I did anything." But I reached out to IBJJF about uniform policy because with having a colostomy, I don't want that exposed. And they're like, I was like, "Can I wear a rash guard underneath?" And like, they replied immediately. It was like, "Nah, get a neoprene brace. You'll be all right."
Are you serious?
Yeah, like there was no hesitation in that response. I was like, damn, that was a quick response and a quick no.
Wow.
Um, but from that point, what I took from that though is I did end up getting the neoprene brace. I didn't compete, but I got in a brace, and from that point on, I wear the neoprene brace when I train. It does give me a little bit more comfort. It's not like a full shield or anything, and when I'm in the gi, especially, it's there with the belt covering over top as well. So I do feel kind of a shield. When I'm doing no gi, it's a little different. I'm
Mhm.
not as reckless, but later in life, I've thought about it more, and it does kind of affect me from time to time, but not to the point where I would ever quit because of it. But
Hmm.
I might have a day where I just feel like I'm very protective of my
Hmm.
stomach. But we get through it.
Yeah.
So, what advice do you have to somebody who isn't sure if they want to start training because they are not, the cookie cutters? Would you proceed with caution? Would you throw caution to the wind? What's your take on that?
I would definitely proceed with caution now. Like if this was Dante 10 years ago, like just jump in. But but now I definitely would advise first talk with your doctor
Mm.
and make sure that you're okay. The only reason I was able to get away with this is because again I've been an athlete all my life, so
Mm.
I know my body. I'm comfortable. So if you're in that position, you've already beat one step. Go ahead, jump in, but still, proceed with caution
Hmm.
because jiu-jitsu is not like the other sports. There's a knee on belly is no joke. So
Right.
you can't have a knee jammed into your stoma
Right.
as you're sitting there like, oh no, this can be bad.
I bet you've
But
gotten
like,
really good at defending the Neon Valley.
absolutely. Like I told the young man earlier today, I said, look, once you return to the mats, neon belly is going to be one of those things. But my whole feeling is I've had teammates apologize. I'm like, don't apologize. It's my responsibility to get out of this because I've always known this has been on my stomach. It's nothing new to me. I didn't wake up this morning shocked like, oh my God, I got a colostomy. Like, I wake up, I get ready, I go to the gym. If I get in a position where you're able to get me on belly on me, it's not for more than a second. I'm out of there. And if you do, don't apologize.
Mhm.
Like that, just I got something to work on. So. But yeah, proceed with caution and just, have fun.
Are you like pretty open with your training partners, like right off the bat? Do you always tell people, or you just kind of as needed situation?
I didn't even open up about it until 2015. I've had it all my life. And then when I started training, I was like, I put up a social media post and it was like, I showed a picture of me and my gi with my stomach exposed. I had actually football teammates reach out. I was like, dude, have you had that all your life? I was like, yeah. I was like, you were playing football? I was like, yeah,
Oh,
it's fun.
wild.
And killing it too,
Yeah.
right?
I just wish you did. They're like,
It's an
yeah, maybe don't get
accidental silver
splattered.
in football.
Yeah.
No, I
But
love and appreciate you talking about this because when we talk about like inclusivity in the sport, like
Mhm.
this is a big part of it. Like we a lot of times don't know what other people have going on.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you being, transparent about all of this. It's really, really appreciated.
Super helpful to him
um,
too.
I've become more, and I think it's just an age thing for me as I become more confident in myself. 'Cause, well, I have a 9-year-old daughter who I, as kids, we're insecure about just life. We don't know the world. And then there's a lot of hesitation and fear. And I think as I got older, it was like, well, I have to, kind of show a bravery as well and an openness. Because at the end of the day, if I mention I have a colostomy and someone has a problem with it, I have to realize it's not my problem, that's their problem.
Yes.
I'm fine. Like I'm still going to treat you, with respect. I'm still going to be kind to you. If you're a dick to me because you don't like the cut of my jib, or the crinkle of my bag, then it's like, oh well, that sucks to be you. But and being open about it, I think helps me kind of deal with it too because when I was in high school, they wanted to do a reversal and close it up and everything. I was like, dude, I'm in high school. I'm the new kid. If you do this, I'm gonna have to wear a diaper. I'm already the new kid. I'm already weird, and now you put me in a diaper.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting out of these 4 years without, emotional trauma. So let's just keep it and then live this life. So, now that I feel more confident about it, I don't have a problem talking about it. I don't openly go into the gym and just say, "Hey guys, hey, here's the bag, man." But
FYI, so you know.
just so you guys know, like I got this big old target right here on my stomach. So put your knee right
Please
into it.
attack me.
I love it. I love like you have such a good sense of humor, and I know like there's a ton of humor in all of your content, and that's such a good way to like connect and cope. And like I know that I've seen so many memes and shit on your page where I'm like, oh, that's relatable. Or like I'll have a bad night at jiu-jitsu and I'll see a meme that's like just the most appropriate for my evening. So
Sums it all.
has comedy and that kind of stuff, has that always been like a part of how you connect and cope and like process things?
Yeah, just going through the foster care system and everything. Always have to try to like laugh it off.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments. I was at a party last year, or a Halloween party 2 years ago, and I was talking to a guy there, and I'm kind of like, I'm telling a story about like just kind of growing up, and then I thought it was funny. He thought it was funny, but his wife, I didn't realize, was kind of sitting off listening. And she comes and was like, "Oh my God, you poor thing." And I was like, "Oh shit." Like, I guess this dark humor of mine, it doesn't translate to everyone. Sorry. But I always look at things like during COVID, I think our basement flooded. The transmission of my car went up. The AC died in the house. We had ants parading throughout the house as well. And I was talking to my friend, and I was laughing about it and cracking jokes. Like, how are you making jokes right now? I was like, well, if I didn't make jokes, I would be crying. So it's one extreme or the other. And I like to laugh. So, I always say, if I can get one person to laugh each day, I feel like I've done my job. And if I can especially get my grandma to laugh, oh my God, that's the weakest set. So I want to see my grandma tomorrow. So, I got a plan.
Oh, I love it.
That's amazing.
I love it.
I want my grandson to try to make me laugh.
Well, you definitely make me laugh on the regular.
Yeah. Do you have like a special, like the funniest story, whether it be from like DMs or your pod or just life in general, that just sticks with you, that you always come back to, of like, even if it's your dark humor, you can be real on this podcast?
This is, oh my God. Like, I've told the story a couple times. It's gonna be dark, but
bring it. We love it. We love darkness here.
We don't know any other way.
So when I was in Flint, there's a guy who walked around with his shopping carts. He would sell candy, like full-size candy bars, sodas, and we called him the Candy Man. and he's doing this every day, just about. It turns out the Candy Man was kidnapping kids.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Yeah,
well, obviously.
Yeah, I was like,
and here I am. I was about to ask, did you ever get candy from him?
oh no, I always got candy from him.
Oh, wow, great. Okay.
But then I thought about it one day. Like, I was like, yo, this dude was kidnapping kids. He didn't even attempt to get me. I was like, fuck, that's twice that nobody wanted me. Jesus Christ, what is wrong with me? So I've made peace with that now. It's like,
with your kidnap rejection.
Yeah, it took me some time to kind of accept the fact that, like, well, maybe maybe it is me.
Oh my gosh. That is also dark, but I'm here for it.
I'm so here for it. Damn.
I've been disguised since fifth grade. So I've been 5'9" since fifth grade. So it might have been that he saw me and was like, yo, that kid will fuck me up. So,
He thought you were an adult, not a kid. He's like, I don't need this
Probably.
grown ass motherfucker.
he was like, this grown ass man, like you out here buying candy bars for me. This motherfucker's probably like kidnap me. So
He's probably thinking you're taking candy bars to kidnap your own set of kids.
yeah, he was like, oh, an ally. He was like,
Oh
no,
my
like,
God.
An accomplice.
I want Skittles. That's all. I just want some Skittles and M&Ms.
Well, I'm glad you were never kidnapped, because then we wouldn't have the joy that is Dante.
Yes, yes.
Well, thank you. My daughter's glad as well.
Yeah,
I bet she is.
She will get that story in 4 years.
I'm sure she will steer clear from anything with a shopping cart.
And then with shopping carts and candy are dangerous.
Oh.
Yes, I'm like, yeah, why do you avoid shopping carts? Listen here, honey, let me tell you this story. Oh my God, that's horrible.
Oh my gosh, that's great though. I mean, it's got a happy ending for you. Reel it in, Jen.
So on the other side of that, do you have any like particular like heartwarming stories or like anything really sentimental,
uplifting
that sticks with you?
So recently there's this PlayStation game called Sing Star, and I like to play that game a lot. Now that my daughter's old enough and she's into music a lot more, we sing a lot of songs together. It does trouble me that she loves to sing Family Portrait by Pink, like with a lot of passion. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Why are you belting that song like that? Like, we are a happy family.
She feels it so hard.
She has no idea. I look back on things I sang as a kid and I'm like, why did my parents let me say that? Like, that is incredibly inappropriate for a 10-year-old to be singing
At full voice.
So she doesn't know. It's fine.
Yeah, she doesn't get it. She's like, this is a good song. But
I mean, Pink is phenomenal. So
I agree. But there's a song by Natasha Bedingfield, Unwritten.
yes,
And she loves to sing that song, as do I. It's one of my favorite songs. And the thing about this song is that a few years before her birth, I was in a really dark place.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very, very close to just calling it a day. I was about to go through self-checkout. I was like, there's nothing more for me here. There's nothing. And, I'm listening to music on my drive. I actually left work that day. My manager, she was like, yeah, just go ahead and, take off. Just take the day. And, I'm just driving around Columbia, Maryland. I listen to music, and Unwritten comes on. And the message to the song kind of snapped me out of it. Basically, your story, you're the author of your story. The page is blank. Go ahead and, write the next page. And that song, I kind of credit to somewhat saving my life a little bit. And my daughter and I, we sing the song on this karaoke game all the time.
Oh, I love that.
cool. That's fantastic.
And I tear up often when I'm singing it. And she's just going, she's getting into it. And it's like, in my mind, it's like, man, little do you know, 2 years before you were born, this song is what, like, kept me here.
Oh.
So whenever I sing it with her, it's a very special song to me because of that, but also the fact that my daughter knows the song, not even because I played the song or anything. She saw it on the game. She liked the beat. She would listen to it, throughout the day. And then one day we're doing this, karaoke. She's like, oh, stop on that song, Dad. I want to do that one. I was like, really? Okay. And she knew most of the words. And I was like, okay, this is good. And then it ended up becoming something really uniquely special for both. She doesn't know the reasons behind it yet, but, it's whenever we do the song, whenever she says, Dad, can we sing karaoke? I'm like, yeah, let me go set up everything and get the mics out, and then we'll sing, that's one of the last songs we'll sing, because after that, I don't, like, I'm not emotionally well. I'm like,
Right.
it's okay. Let's sing in sync now.
There's no more vocal available.
Imagine someday you'll be able to share this story with her, and that'll just be so special.
Bonding.
Like, you'll sing it at her wedding. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, we're gonna cry.
I'd probably break down. It's like, yeah, maybe not the wedding.
Oh my God.
Oh, we love
a great story.
We love a supportive, sentimental dad. I'm a huge daddy's girl over here, so like I love to see it. It's really special. What's the future of Dante and BJJ Wiki and Off the Mats and Jiu Jitsu? What does all that look like for you?
So as far as Jiu Jitsu, I'm here for a long time. I'm not going anywhere. Hopefully I can get some consistency and actually, learn to have a guard. So that's, Jiu-Jitsu, at least for me, is like establish a guard that works for me.
Mm-hmm.
As far as BJJ Wiki goes, the hope is to get the website back up.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I have too many projects in my mind, so I'll get hyperfixated on it. And then like, okay, I'm burned out. Let's go to the next project though and get burned out over that one too. So the hope for BJJ Wiki is to the website back up and have it running how it was running before, and just really kind of utilize it for kind of how Instagram is now, but I'm a little bit more in depth with articles, and also promoting the podcasts through that as well, the various podcasts, because like as my brain bounces everywhere, it's like, well, let me just put it all in one place. So as far as the future goes for all this content, YouTube, I have some ideas that I'm toying with right now. It's just a matter of focus, and then the website, getting that back off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just got to get focused, and then getting the sustainable guard. Again, I got to get focused.
Mm-hmm.
Good plans.
Well, I think that things are looking pretty good for you.
Yes, I totally relate on the projects and the burnout. So I feel you there, and I know it'll come back around for you too.
So we like to kind of close out with a rapid fire, if you are down for that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yay.
All right. So, gi or no gi?
Gi.
Takedowns or guard pulls?
Yikes. 4 years ago, takedowns. Now, pulling guard.
Hell yeah. Mountains or beach?
I'm going to take mountains.
Oh, I love it. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl for sure. I don't go to bed until like 2:30.
Oh man, I'm a both, and it's not a good combination.
Yeah, I'm technically I'm both.
Yeah, it's not a good combination, right? It's awful. Arm bars or triangles?
So my triangles aren't very good because I have little stubby legs. So I'm gonna have to go arm bar, but trust me, once the triangle is locked in, you're Fucksville, just because of my little bitty legs.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta still go arm bar because I can't really get a triangle.
Yeah. How about cats or dogs?
Ooh, well, I'm allergic to cats, but I love cat videos because they're so like funny and adorable.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't have a cat, so I'm gonna have to go dogs.
Do you have any pets?
I do not.
Oh, well, I have a dog that's my at-home jiu-jitsu partner because my husband doesn't train. So 10 out of 10 recommend getting yourself a pit bull, a large dog to train with you at home if you're in need. All right.
I would take that to my wife.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, just have her listen to this. And if you need any backup, like I'll type out a nice recommendation for you.
much appreciated.
All right.
Saving relationships over here.
All right. So just a couple more. What would your ideal date night be with your wife?
Movies, didn't really, when we were dating, when we were younger, we went to the movies every Friday, had dinner, so we're going to do that this weekend, actually. So dinner, movies, and, if we can, if it's not too late, we go for like a little stroll and just talk.
Yeah, that's so special.
That's important.
It is so important to keep dating your spouse after you're married and forever.
Yes.
Forever.
All right, 2 more. What is your favorite thing to do with your daughter?
Singing is probably up there. I always tell, my friends, even if their kids are older than me, friends who are having new kids, especially the dads, I always say, sing with your kids. There's a connection that I can't explain it, but there's a bond that comes with singing with your child. Not just your child, just singing with a loved one.
I agree.
So, yeah, like I love singing with my daughter. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's probably the number one thing. I mean, we're silly kids, she and I, but when we get to sing, that's when we're in our bag.
That's really special. I think to close out my rapid fires, we always ask everybody if your best friend had to describe you in 3 words. What would those 3 words be?
Supportive, passionate, and silly.
Those are great. Those are great. Oh, well, we so appreciate you chatting with us. Where can people find you and your podcast? How do we tune in and support everything that you're doing?
Sure. BJJ.wiki on Instagram is where you can find me. Off the Mats podcast is also on Instagram. I'm on both those platforms daily, just posting content. As far as where the podcast can be found, it's everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I don't know what other platforms there are anymore. I think it pops up on YouTube from time to time. I can't remember. But anywhere you can find a podcast, that's where Off the Mats will be. And, I've been really big on urging people to, leave a review, leave a comment. Really helps us out. Pretty please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Dante, for reminding us that connection can happen on and off the mats. I am extremely grateful for you to reach out to us and give us an opportunity to tell your story. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I feel like it's a conversation that we didn't know we needed. And your voice in the jiu-jitsu world really matters. And we're glad that you are here and you're a part of this. And I feel like we're going to need to have you on again in the future.
Yes.
I'm more than happy to do it. And I would love to have you all on Off the Mats as well.
Yes.
That's just, let's flip the script.
It would be an honor.
I am excited.
Awesome.
Yeah, it would be a total honor.
Excellent.
Thanks again so much, Dante. You are awesome.
No problem. Thank you very much.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Check us out on Instagram at Chokeholds and Chill Pod, or shoot us a message at chokeholdsandchillpod@gmail.com.